I'm Orla.
And I'm Leanne. And together we are
How's Your Ma? So this week we're going to talk about domestic violence.
Yeah.
So Leanne is a domestic violence.
I'm the Outreach Prevention and Training Manager for a domestic violence service in South Dublin. I think that some of the work that we do and some of the conversations that we'd be having, I wouldn't be honouring some of the work that I do if we didn't bring in some of those conversations and acknowledge it. And we have women who come into our service every day, whether that's through the helpline, whether it's through our outreach services, whether they just send in an email or a WhatsApp, or they come into our refuge services. We have women who come into our services every day. And I just wanted to spend a little bit of time maybe exploring what that's like, so that people do know that there's help and support out there. And you know, I hear lots of funny stories, and I hear people cover up some of their traumas with humour some of the times, and it's like, and I reflect on that, and then I hear people who have absolutely harrowing stories and they struggle to get through a day. So everybody has different coping mechanisms, but I do believe that this is a very worthwhile subject for both men and women.
Yeah.
And 1 in 3 women experience domestic abuse, and 1 in 7 men experience domestic abuse.
I just think that's wild. I don't really know much about domestic violence because I haven't got any friends or family. Well, I'd like to think I haven't, and if they were going through it, I'd like to, I don't know, would I notice the signs, Leanne? Probably not.
And I will tell you that you do have family that are experiencing it. Well, when you look at the numbers, Orla, you can't not know somebody who's experiencing it. Like as we say, 1 in 3 women, 1 in 7 men, 100% of their children vicariously or directly experience domestic violence and abuse. Because as the person who...
So that was probably very ignorant of me to say that.
I don't know that it's ignorance, or it's just maybe not in your awareness as much as you would like it to be. I don't think it's ignorance.
What would you look out for? Jesus, I'd be staring at everybody now. And is he being a bit...
And I suppose everybody has different tolerances and capacities in their relationships. I had this question a while ago. We were up in TUD and I had this question. And a girl asked, she said, I was getting off the bus and I seen a boyfriend and a girlfriend, what looked to her like they were a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And as she was getting off the bus, your man pushed your woman's head and it kind of hit off the window. And she was like, is that domestic abuse? And I was like, but do you know whether it was being playful or not? Or do you know what the capacity for it was? Or, you know, were they messing with each other and it kind of was a little bit too hard? Or what was your sense of the situation? She said, oh, I don't know, I just seen it. When people experience domestic abuse, they have like sometimes an internal and an external dialogue. So the voice that goes on inside you that kind of keeps you present in a situation, even if it's harmful. And then the world that goes on around you. And I think it's like when we talked with Katie, she talked about domestic abuse. She didn't directly say it. She talked about familial abuse.
Yeah.
And family abuse is domestic violence and abuse.
Oh, okay.
I don't think many people realise that. So when you're saying, actually, sorry, just some of that would be normalised from the youth that we had, and from maybe our parents' youth. Like, we often hear people come into our service and say, sure, it was okay just to get a slap.
Yeah, sure, my ma used to kill me.
Yeah. My ma used to kill me.
Yeah.
And as we build up more knowledge about that, more knowledge about childhood trauma and the experiences of childhood trauma, at those adverse childhood experiences, as we build up more knowledge about that, we realise the impact that has long term on you as a person, and the trauma that you can pass down to your children, unknowingly, unconsciously.
Yeah.
Are you just going to look at me?
I don't know. There's so much I want to know, but there's so much like I'm just like, where to even start? Like, so for someone to come into your place? Like, would they just come up and knock on the door and say, will you help me? Or what way?
It's different for everybody. Some people will ring our helpline. Some people will knock on the door and say, I seen the sign outside. I didn't know what else to do, so here I am. Some people will know somebody who works in the service. Some people will go onto our website.
And then what do you do? Like, how do you help somebody like that? Like, are they going to come in and have a chat with you and still go home to Peter and get battered? Or
well, not everybody gets battered, so there's psychological
I know.
So are they going to go home to Peter? Probably for some people they are. It's sometimes safer for people to go home to situations, but they might need the information. So we're always dropping seeds and sowing seeds so that people can get the information that they need, like long-term safety plans and risk assessments. So people live in chronic fear when they live with domestic abuse, and it's like, if I make this move, what's going to happen? Will he notice if this happens? Will she notice if this happens? How do I adapt or change the children? What kind of conversations do I have? How do I regulate everybody's behaviour? How do I not have this conversation? How do I have the other conversation? There's so many questions.
That's exhausting. And one person would be going through that daily, just like
seconds. Within seconds you're having all of those thoughts. Within seconds. So you're always trying to navigate the world around you and keep things as calm and plain as you can. But you're never in the mind of your perpetrator of abuse. So you don't always know what's going to happen or what might trigger them. And I think that the women that we do see that get away from that, they're still very much in survival mode. For a long time, hypervigilance is after setting in. The radar has gone out. They're looking for threats everywhere. If women come into the refuge setting, it takes quite a while for them to settle out of survival and settle into being who they are. Like, you're just not safe all of a sudden. There's psychological safety that comes with anybody who has experienced violence and abuse.
Every age bracket, Leanne.
Yeah.
Like from really young to really old. Like,
what's really young and really old?
Oh, but like, you know, would a 17-year-old comes? Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we have children who experience the abuse that's happening in their family home. We have people who experienced abuse in their relationships. So there was a study done in 2014, and within that study, it's like we kind of get into those peer-led relationships at the age of 15, and domestic abuse lasts for 20.5 years. If you experience it, to really get free from domestic abuse, the impact of it on your life cycle is 20.5 years. So you're talking about a 15-year-old who's had an experience of abuse, not recovering until they're a 35-year-old woman, and that's only if they've had one experience. So it's been several experiences across their life cycle. Then it's always taken very much longer to recover from what that experience is. And that's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then if you've grown up with that as a child in your culture, and when I say the culture, I mean the culture of your family, not your ethnicity culture, but also part of that impacts on how people have conversations about abuse. Like, some people have conversations and then they might go to church and church will change their mind, and it's like, oh, well, he's your husband and you need to respect him, or she's your wife and you need to do this, or very much tradition and value is changed in the Western world to how it is in other parts of the world. So we've so many people migrating here at the moment as well, that shifts and changes, and everyone's perspective can be very different. Or how you're brought up, the poverty that you're brought up in, the situation that you're brought up in, the abuse that you experience as a child.
And it'd be hard for you to break the cycle. So say if I was going through domestic violence and then I'm rearing my kids, like, would it be what they're seeing with me and their dad, would they think, oh, sure, that's the norm? And then they'd probably fall into that kind of relationship as well.
They could be. And it's not always what they're seeing. Sometimes it's what they're sensing. I heard Katie talk about growing up with the amount of tension that was in our family home. I grew up with, there was tension when my parents were separating in our family home. There was tension when other people partners came into our family home. And that shifts and changes dynamics all of the time. Yeah. So, when you talk about domestic violence and abuse, it's unique to every single situation. And it's not a monkey see, monkey do kind of situation, because there's plenty of people out there that have grown up with violence and abuse, and they're hugely resilient, and they've done so much work to be able to change the impact that that's going to have on their own families and their own generations. It's like they've put down the boulders of trauma, and their kids might have pebbles rather than boulders. And I think that's a really good visual to look at. If you're carrying a mountain on your back and the next person only carries a boulder and the next person only carries a pebble, somebody might be free of it. So it takes like 3 generations to break the cycle of abuse. That's a long time.
Yeah. So that's not my ma, that's my granny.
Yeah. That's your granny, your ma, you, and your daughter, all in one conversation. It's a lot, isn't it?
It's wild.
But we have women out there who are wildly successful in getting away from the abusive relationships that they are in.
Can you say what the first thing that comes to your mind, a success story?
Yeah. I know loads of success stories.
Tell us one that, off the top of your head, this is one. Someone you helped and was like, she's or he's this person now.
And you see, I wouldn't say that I helped anybody. I think people help themselves.
Well, you have to help yourself first, but I'm sure I've held many hands as well.
I've influenced a couple of people across my career. Yeah. I'm very privileged to be able to do that. I'm very privileged to be able to be a tiny part of their story and change the impact of their lives and their kids' lives. I'm very, very privileged to sit in that position, and I know the privilege and the way that bears on me sometimes, but also bears on like people in frontline services, because there's people that are successful and there's people that aren't successful. And I think these are the cases that probably make me the most happiest. When you see somebody and you sense safety from them, they're like, that was mad, wasn't it? I couldn't believe all that I've went through. And they still don't recognise their achievement.
Yeah.
But they're like, they feel safe enough, and then you just watch them grow. So I have worked with young women who have got away from their partners. They've left them. And I've worked with young women who have gone into counselling and therapy alongside their partners so that they can grow together and work on their relationship, because they are from like 2 different kind of attachment styles. So their attachment styles, just this one particular case, their attachment styles were so different that they really loved each other, but they wanted to be together, but found it really difficult to be together. So she wanted quite a lot from him, and he was like, I can't give you all of that because of my history and my experience and everything that I've grown up with. I need to cut myself off a bit so that I can feel very safe when I go into a relationship. And she was like, I want more, I need all of it because of the experiences that she had. And I was like, oh, do you think you're trauma bonding? And kind of looking at that experience that they were having. And they were like, no, we're not trauma bonding. They went into couples counselling, and they just had a really good communication around what it was that was impacting each other. And I don't think that they realised the abuse that was in their relationship to each other until they started to talk to friends, and friends were like, that's coercive control, or that's narcissistic behaviour. Or
that's just not right.
But really honest friends were saying to them, but what are you doing that's just in their case now, what are you doing that's impacting on why this is happening? Very much in young relationships. In some of the older relationships, part of it is learned behaviour. Yeah. Part of it is tradition. It's like, well, my ma done this, so I need to do this too. Or my sister's done this, or I went and I asked.
That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is. I went and I asked my friends for help, and they didn't know how to help me, so I'm still here because I don't know where else that I can get help. I didn't know that there was support out there. I think that stuns me sometimes when people still don't know that there's support out there, because like I'll talk to anybody about their experiences of domestic violence and domestic abuse. Some of the clients that I do therapy with, they come in and they're like, yeah, no, and we got hit when we were kids and this happened. And I was like, oh, so is that where you were learned to be hit was by your dad or by your mum, did they teach you that it's okay? And they'd be like, don't know what you're on about. And it's actually a profound realisation that for those people that started in their family home a long time ago, and here they are in therapy now, really trying to recover from what their childhood experience of trauma was. And they don't even realise it, but they've gone into abusive relationships then.
Yeah.
And then some people just choose to be abusers. They choose family violence, they choose to abuse their partner, and it's just the choice that they make. It's their parenting style or it's their partnership style.
Never done me any harm.
Never done me any harm, and that's not okay.
Oh, I know.
And I say that with every bit of growth that I have in me. If you're a perpetrator of abuse, you need to go and get help and support. And if you're experiencing abuse, you also need to go and get help and support. There's plenty of services that will listen to what it is that you have to say. And I would encourage people to be really brave in coming forward. I know that this is a really serious subject, but I am very aware, as I said, like there's people who deal with this with humour, and they're like, oh, my ma battered me and she done this, she took the wooden spoon out, and I remember I used to get clattered.
She broke the sweet brush over me back.
And they're smiling and they're laughing and they're telling the story.
But I deserved it.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. Nobody deserves to be hit. Yeah. Nobody deserves to be hurt. Nobody deserves to be abused.
Because when I think about like safe, to me safe is my house. My house was safe, but like not everybody has that. Like some people's houses are hell.
Some people's houses are hell. Yeah. Some people's families are great on the streets and at home.
What do
devils.
They say? Street angel, house devil. Yeah, that is what they say. And that's really hard for people, because I always say when I'm delivering training or anything, you know, somebody can be the head of the GAA club, a local school principal. Everybody loves them, aren't they great? They do this for us and they do that for us. He was a lovely man, and she was a lovely woman.
Yeah, the torture that you live with at home belongs to you. And
what
you
did we say to
differently.
Katie last week as well? Or, jeez, I don't even know where I am with my weeks. The neighbours, keeping face for the neighbours.
Yeah, the charmer, street charmer, house devil. They're people to be watching out for. And it's just making sure that you believe people when they come to you with their story. I think we have women who have been murdered. We only started recording femicides and murder in 1996 here in Ireland. 1996. It's only 30 years ago.
I know.
That's quick maths.
Did you?
It's only 30 years ago.
Carol Vorderman over there.
Certainly no Carol. Countdown. But yeah, that's only 30 years of recording them. Can you just imagine what it's like for people who actually can't even get to report? I know the guards do quite a lot of work around it, and they have every year, they have in kind of April, May, they have a big day called Go Purple Day.
Okay.
And they want people to be able to come out, people in rural communities, people who are on farms who might be experiencing abuse, but they don't really know where they can go and what it is that they can do.
They're isolated.
And then in the end of November onto the 10th of December, we have the 16 days of gender-based violence. And again, that's exploring domestic abuse. So it is very much talked about, and we want to talk about it because we want people to know that it's okay to talk about it. And I know that that's what I do for my Monday to Thursday job. But it comes up so many times in therapy. So many times it's like it's in the background all of the time.
When you say it's in the background all of the time, what do you mean by that?
People have used it or explain it as part of their narrative, but they don't necessarily know that it's violence or abuse. So when we talk about violence, we tend to think that that's physical violence, but psychological violence, and the women that I would have worked with over the years would have said that the psychological violence is worse, that they live in chronic fear. So they...
Because I suppose if you got a dig or a clatter, you can feel it.
It ends, chaos ends, crisis ends.
Whereas the other one... what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know what word you're looking for.
Psychological. Oh my God, tonight. The psychological, though, that's constant, and you don't know when it's coming, or you
Or it's always happening.
Sitting there just having a conversation, and then bang,
Yeah.
it turns.
So people describe that feeling as walking on eggshells,
Yeah.
where they have to like constantly think. So when you talk about being exhausted, they're talking about what exhaustion looks like, and like, I'm tired. You're like, she fucking does nothing at home all day. How can she be tired? Her mind is gone.
Yeah.
The emotional abuse. So when I talk about safety, or when I experience safety for me is always first and foremost psychological safety. How am I safe? What does safety look like for me? And it's being able to be myself, and being able to be congruent in myself, and not have to take on board all of the other narratives and then try and wiggle me way in and around them. It's like, am I safe? Am I on my 2 feet? Am I present in my body? Am I here? If I am, I'm doing really, really well. Yeah. So I'll always strive to be doing really, really well. And as a frontline worker, I would have worked with a lot of people where it was like, how can we get people to just navigate themselves back to who they are, the choices they make, the freedom in the choices they make, the freedom from fear that they're experiencing, because chronic fear will very much change your mind and how you think about things. If you've grown up with childhood abuse, it changes your brain structure, how your brain works, how you think. You go like into survival mode, and people who live in survival mode all of the time are living very much in chronic fear. They're like that hypervigilance, they're always searching for it. It's exhausting. Trauma is exhausting.
Yeah. Like, I'm exhausted because I'm after being away. Like, imagine me feeling like this 24/7.
Yeah.
But these people are.
Yeah.
Now, my excuse is I carried on disgraceful, but you know what I mean? Like, imagine feeling like that for nothing.
Yeah. Imagine having to navigate that every second of every day. Like, you know that you're going to be okay in a couple of days.
Yeah, it'd be brand new.
A couple of bottles of water, sorted. Get your electrolytes into you.
I will.
But they constantly have to think about it. It's like, I used to work with women, and they'd be like, I knew when the cup hit the table in the morning after his cup of tea what my day was going to be like.
Oh, God.
And he might go out to work for the day, or she might go out to work for the day. And I suppose we're very much talking about partner relationships here, but there is that family abuse as well. And then they have to construct what the day looks like and the context of the day around people. Yeah, it's trauma is exhausting. And even recovery from trauma is exhausting. How do you be present? How do you experience that? But what I would say to people is, how do you recognise it? How do you respond to it? And how do you help or support people to recover from it?
So say for me, Leanne, say somebody came to me and say, oh, Orla, so-and-so is doing this or she's doing that. Or how do I help? No, not that I want to help or whatever, but like, where do I send her? Like, where's the services? Because I don't know. If someone was having domestic violence, I don't know where to send them to go. Yeah.
So you can do your own research. You can.
Yeah, I know Google's a great thing, but like, where would you say? Well, you're the expert.
I'd say come to my service and we'll look after you. Ring one of the helplines. Have a conversation with one of the key workers who answer the helplines, regardless of what service it is. That's not just my service. Yeah. Have a conversation with somebody, explore what it is that's going on for you. They will help you risk assess. They will help you safety plan. It's not always safe to leave. So when you say if somebody comes to me and they're having, as you say, domestic abuse, or they're in an experience of domestic abuse, it's not always safe to just go, leave, get out there. It's not safe to do that.
Because that would be something I would say, but like, are you for real? You're putting up with that? Yeah. You know, because I don't know.
And some people have to have a longer term plan. Some people wait until their partner has gone to work. So some of the families that I would have worked with over the years, I would have like got them to start gathering the important things that they needed, photocopies of the important things that they needed, gathering like a runaway bag. And keeping that in somebody's safe house, somebody who knows about your experience. I would always say, if you can have a safe person to tell about what's happening and that person checks in on you, that's really good as a start. But then, when we look at the numbers, 1 in 3, if you're from a family of 6 girls, and neither of us are, But if you're from a family of 6 girls,
One of
then
them. 2 of them.
potentially, yeah. Potentially.
Yeah.
So like, and if you're closer to a sister and you go and you say, no, God, this is after happening, and her experience is as valid as your experience, and she might go, oh no, just stay there. Like the narrative changes for everybody. It's not that bad. Or how do you help somebody? You listen to them. You tell them that there is services out there. You get them the helpline numbers. You support them to ring the helpline. You might need to sit with people to ring the helpline numbers, or to knock on the door, or just ask, did you hear about the service? But most of the time, people don't go and ask for help. So I would encourage that you do that. But we often have people on the outside who are friends who recognise that somebody needs support, and that person might not recognise it themselves. So I would say, like, I always say to them, play a podcast where they're talking about domestic abuse in the car, and start to open up the conversation so they know that you're open to hearing about it. That's not okay that that's happening to them. I recorded a podcast a couple of years ago with some of the girls in the beauticians that do their nails, and as people came in, we're just getting them to join in the conversation. The girls are coming in to get their nails done, before they know it, they're on a podcast talking about domestic abuse. They didn't know that's what they were in for on the day, but they were open and willing because they had friends, they had sisters, they had cousins who had that experience. They had children, they had their own experiences themselves, and they were able to navigate them. So, and with men are less likely to open up about their experiences. It's often seen as weak.
Yeah.
It can, the manosphere doesn't help, but there can be a very egotistical view.
Chin up.
Yeah, man up. What
Yeah.
is manning up? I have some really, really good, safe male friends. And if I was to say to them, I've been experiencing domestic abuse, they'd be like, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. And if I was to say to either of my brothers, I've been experiencing domestic abuse, it'd be like, what do you need? When do you need it? What can we do? And I think that's what we want. Yeah. I want my boy to be like that.
My brother gave Eddie's warnings when he met me first. My brother was a big boy. And he says to Ed, she's my sister. It's only 10 months between me and Stuart. You ever do anything to her? He said he had a van at the time. He said, you ever do, we called the van Coco, that's a whole other story. You ever do anything to her? He said, you'll be in Coco. He said, and you'll never be found. And Ed was like, Orla, I didn't know if he was serious or if he was messing. And I said, oh no, he was very serious. Yeah. So Ed was like, oh, okay. And that was from the off.
Not everybody has that person.
Yeah. Because don't have that person anymore.
Yeah. And some people have brothers that are perpetrators of domestic abuse to their friend who's now probably their sister-in-law or whatever.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's rife. It's an epidemic.
It's frightening, isn't it?
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
But people like you, Leanne, to help, you know what I mean? We need more people like Leanne.
We need more people who work in services that can help. We need more knowledge. We need more sharing. I'd say to anybody, if they listen to this podcast and they have a friend who's experiencing domestic abuse, to play this in the car. Say, come here, do you want to go for a drive? It's just in the background. You can be having your own conversation, but sound the seed for change. And it might take somebody, on average they say it takes 7 times before somebody actually leaves. Some people never leave.
7 times?
Some people never leave. I would say of the women that I've worked with, it's taken them like 37 times to make an attempt to leave, and probably 1 million thoughts at a minimum before they actually leave the situation that they're in. I know young women who've stayed in situations because their partner was so violent, and in this case I mean physically violent, like broken eye sockets, broken collarbones, locked in apartments for days at a time and tortured, followed to hospitals and dragged out of triage rooms and attacked, and parents attacked. And they've lost their children to social workers, and the children have gone into a care through emergency care orders. And I know those women. And I remember having a conversation with one girl, and I was like, what is it? What is it that stops you from breaking free? Because she'd been in and out of refuges quite a bit. What is it? And she said, I can be hurt but it's my job to keep my family safe. And she meant it was our job to keep our ma safe, our younger sister, our older sister, and our 2 kids.
Because he after them.
It's who's next on the list. Because
God.
in this case, he was such a violent person.
Oh God.
She felt that she needed to do everything that she can. So she'd be like, I'll take the hiding and everybody else will be okay. Yeah, to the point where he nearly killed her several times. Several times she came back from the brink of death. And
is she okay now?
I couldn't be sure, Orla.
Okay.
I couldn't be sure. Like, he went to prison. Did she feel the need to wait on him when he came out of prison? I couldn't be sure.
Yeah.
I think that's really sad.
Very sad.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that kind of filters around for me and impacts me. Then we have the success stories. We have the women who come into our service and they've changed the look of who they are, and then they might come back a year. I might see them a year or two later, or they might come back into the service for a day that we put on or whatever, and they're after letting their hair grow and they're wearing a little bit of makeup and they're starting to feel like themselves again. They're like, this is who I used to be.
Yeah.
And they're congruent in themselves and they just make me smile, and they are so happy in themselves, but they're still on their journey to recovery.
Oh, absolutely.
But they've been able to take the leap to what freedom is for them. And I could talk about different situations for years.
Yeah.
Not just for hours, but for years. Like, there's sexual abuse, there's digital abuse. Air Service runs a healthy relationships workshop. We'll do workshops and services for free, just so that we are spreading the knowledge as far and as wide as we can. Yeah, because if you know about it, now you can help somebody. You're able to say, why don't you go to a service?
I'd be watching everyone like a hawk. So be careful around me now, because now I know.
And examine people's relationships. But I also think, and we were talking about this today, like the impact that vicariously has on you, or the transference that happens. And we were talking as a group of women around, like, people who are in modern dating relationships now, and how they've probably changed from the traditional dating relationships that we would have got into. You got in, there was monogamy, you thought that you were going to be in it long term, you were in it long term, and relationships can be...
Now it's all kind of like, we're only seeing each other. Seeing each other, it's not going out with each other, isn't it? Isn't that a thing?
I don't know.
I think it is. See, I have young friends, Leanne.
Oh, right,
anyway, and they tell me, so if you're seeing somebody, doesn't mean that is your boyfriend.
Okay.
You're just seeing him. You're not official.
Okay. How do you get official?
I don't know. Come here. You're asking me.
Yeah. And there's all different dynamics in relationships. So
but if you're seeing someone for a few weeks, surely to God, like, you're into them and that's your boyfriend now, no?
I don't know, Orla. I don't know.
So you know.
I don't know if Jamie... Do you know? No?
I think it depends on the person, to be honest.
I think it depends on the person too.
Some people would be like, don't want to put a label on anything.
Why?
Why?
Don't want to be committed.
Why?
Just so if anything goes wrong, they can just get out real quick. Like, if they're not saying, like...
Just finish it.
They don't want the hassle of that.
So you want... I want to be with you, but if I like him, I can be with him as well. But that's okay because we're not official.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh no, I couldn't. That's wild. I couldn't.
Relationships are different now, though, aren't they?
Exhausting.
They are different.
And then you liked her photograph. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. And there's age differences
Yeah.
and dynamics and safety. So when we go back to safety, like, it's like, how do you feel safe when there's always this constant threat, even in the emotional, what's the word that I'm looking for? The emotional context of a relationship. If it's not clear, then I don't know what's happening.
So then you're exhausted all the time.
I'm exhausted all the time. That's just going out with somebody.
And
That's very much changed from when we were younger. Yeah. Yeah. But then the older women that I was talking to today, because I was married and I was with my ex-partner for almost 20 years, and then coming out of that, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is very different. The experience of it is very different. The context of it has changed, but it's also filtered up into my age range, and people would be like, are you a cougar? I was like, at what age do I become a cougar? Because I'm still a young one. Don't laugh at me. But like, what happens?
I think
in the
you're
different
only
dynamics?
a cougar if you're going off with a younger fella, are you?
What's younger? Because I was talking to a girl the other day, and her partner is 5 years younger than her.
Ah, no, that's grand.
And I was talking to a girl, and her partner's 20 years younger than her.
I don't know.
I
don't know if I could be with a
I don't
fella
know
20
either.
years younger
I
than
don't
me.
know either. I think the thing is that relationships have changed so much. Gender development has changed so much that there is quite a lot of unknown that happens at the moment. LGBT relationships, there's open relationships, there's relationships that are built on fetish and kink. So what's an experience?
It's wild out there, isn't it?
It's wild. It's fucking wild. But experiences that one person has, and it goes back to that on the bus thing, like experiences that one people have, the narrative is not the same, and it doesn't fit everybody. Whereas when we were growing up in our time before us, the narrative was you were young, you got married, you moved into the kind of tradition. Affairs happened and all of those bits happened in the background. But was like, you stuck by your wife, monogamy. That's all changed. It's a very different arena when it comes to dating. So that changes the structure of what feels abusive and what is abusive. Because there's a difference when you're looking or searching for one thing, but you're experiencing another. So what I would say to people in those situations is know who you are, know what you want, and don't settle for any less.
Absolutely.
And if you need help, go and ask for it.
Yeah.
So recognise and respond to what's happening inside. If you're having anxiety when you're with your partner, you need to check in on that. You need to check in on yourself. There's lots more. This will come up in lots of the conversations that we have. People who have experienced domestic abuse and got away from the relationship that they're in, well done. You are breaking a cycle of trauma for yourself, for those around you, for future generations that come after you. People who are still in that experience, there very much is help out there for you to get help and support from people. So I think on that note, knowing quite well that there is other services out there that people can be referred on to, pick up the phone if you need it, send a text, ask a friend, but please just don't live with the experience that you're having on your own. And we will touch on this as we talk about other people. This is where we need to polish people's crowns.
Absolutely.
This is where we need to say it's okay. This is where we
Yeah.
need to recognise the experiences that people are having, and that we need to go down all the layers so that our perspective and their perspective, we recognise that they're different and we recognise their experience.
And if you're listening, like, this is all new to me. Leanne is taking the lead on this because this is her profession. So I'm learning off Leanne as well. So if you're listening, don't feel stupid. If you need to reach out.
Reach out.
Yeah.
And even if somebody DMs us through our Instagram page, we'll refer them on to the service that they need.
Well, Leanne will.
Well, Leanne will, because Leanne looks after it. I'll refer you on to the service that you need, or offer you any help or support that I can, or any guidance that we can through that avenue. But for now, I think we'll leave it there and leave the question for people to reflect on themselves. What is it that they're experiencing in their own relationship, and are they very much happy? So my name is Leanne.
My name is Orla.
And together we are
How's your ma?